The news report that we brought out how a former union minister and a Gandhi family key aide intervened in the year 2013 to call off a probe against a suspected Maoist terrorist. Today, around 80 of those suspected Maoists are former colleagues who worked with him as former Prime Minister Rural Development Fellows have issued a letter condemning his arrest. Here's exactly what the letter states, and we'll put out those graphics for our viewers there to just exactly see. Now we are talking about this individual, Mahesh Raut, and this is a report that Times Now has filed. Take a look.
If you remember, I have been saying for the last 3 years that Naxalism is the biggest internal security challenge that our country faces.
While the former Prime Minister waged a war on what he called as the single biggest internal security threat, his own Mantri apparently gave amnesty to a Maoist suspect.
This in my hand is a letter written by the then Rural Development Minister Mr. Jairam Ramesh to the then Chief Minister of Maharashtra Mr. Prithviraj Chavan in connection with the person whose name was Mahesh Raut. This letter has been written to Mr. Prithviraj Chavan by Mr. Jairam Ramesh asking for his personal intervention for stopping an ongoing police investigation against Mr. Mahesh Raut, who had been detained and perhaps been questioned by Gadchiroli police for his alleged links with the Naxals.
Interestingly, the former UPA minister was giving character certificates to a man who has been arrested under terror charges by the Pune police.
Times Now accesses a June 28, 2013 letter written by UPA Mantri Jairam Ramesh. The letter written after the police detained Mahesh Raut, a PMRD fellow, a Prime Minister Rural Development fellow in the Maoist hotbed of Gadchiroli. Jairam Ramesh gives a character certificate virtually to Raut.
The newsbreak has put the Congress on the back foot.
Mr. Athawale yesterday, who is a union minister, he came out very heavily against these claims and said that Elgar Parishad has had nothing to do with Bhima Koregaon. He is questioning his own government. We expect answers from the government.
The bailout letter is seen as a proof of Congress Maoist link by the BJP.
ये वही पार्टी है जिस पार्टी ने कि जब हमारे सुरक्षा बलों ने सीमा के अंदर घुस करके और आतंकवादियों का सफाया किया था, खात्मा किया था, तो उस सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक पे सवाल खड़ा कर दिया था उस समय। इस तरह की शर्मनाक बातें ये करते रहे हैं।
Overruling the police, Jairam batted for an alleged Maoist sympathizer. But should a union minister have jumped the gun to get a probe into Mahesh Raut's alleged Maoist link aborted? Bureau Report, Times Now.
Now, that's a big story we filed here on Times Now. And let me also bring in Samya Kapoor on board on this, because Samya, this is this letter that holds the key. In 2013, when Mahesh Raut was also under the police scanner but was bailed out, so to speak, by the then UPA Minister Jairam Ramesh. We spoke to the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Prithviraj Chavan, but any word coming in from Mr. Jairam Ramesh himself?
Well, ever since the Times Now broke that story, accessed that letter first before everybody else, Times Now, we have been trying to get in touch with both Jairam Ramesh and Prithviraj Chavan. However, Jairam Ramesh has not entertained any of our reach-out attempts for that matter, whether it's I or many of my colleagues. He refuses to make any statement on record or comment on why did he write that letter asking that Mahesh Raut should be let off, that whatever interrogation he is going through, whether Maharashtra police are trying to look into his role, alleged role for that matter, when he was present at Gadchiroli and he was picked up from there as a possible connection with the Maoists. Why did he stress on his release? He has not placed any statements on record, but the common strain of thoughts within the Congress party clearly is that back in the day in 2013, if there was any tangible proof at the disposal of the government, why was there no FIR filed against Mahesh Raut? And without an FIR, you cannot hold back or detain someone for interrogation for such a long time, and that is the only reason why the Rural Development Minister back in the day, Jairam Ramesh, had to intervene and seek early relief or to get this matter resolved at the earliest, and consequently Mahesh Raut was let off. And now Congress party maintained that since the BJP is at the helm at the government, they have all the investigative agencies at their disposal, whether it's the ED, the IT, the CBI, they can carry out a thorough investigation in this entire matter and arrive at a
But talking about investigation, Samia, because an independent inquiry was ordered. But at whose behest did Jairam Ramesh order this independent inquiry? What really came out of that? And what exactly happened that Mahesh Raut was let off the hook?
Well, when I tried to reach across to sources close to Prithviraj Chavan, he said that back in the day, Home Ministry wasn't under his domain. Sure, he was the Chief Minister and he did seek a report to be sent back to his office, and that did not happen. And it was the SP, Gadchiroli, to whom the Home Ministry of Maharashtra, Home Department of Maharashtra wrote that letter of release to.
All right,
and consequently,
Samia, stay on with us. Dr. Subramanian Swamy is with us on the phone line. Dr. Swamy, if you watch this report, we're playing out here on time. Now, alleged Maoist sympathizer who was arrested by the Pune police last week has been given some kind of amnesty by the former UPA minister Jairam Ramesh. Now, if you remember, this connection was made in the alleged role of working on behalf of banned Maoist terror organizations. Do you feel that there are now more Congress Maoist links that are now surfacing and appearing to be clearer?
Oh, now it's a clear prima facie case. And I think Jairam Ramesh needs to be interrogated. And he has to be found out whether he was doing it on behalf of somebody, which is likely, probably Mr. Rahul Gandhi, because he's most of the time around with him. Or he did it on his own, but I have no indication from knowing him for many years that he has any Maoist leanings. So it must be a direction from the superiors in the Congress party.
But also, Dr. Swamy, because when we are talking about these arrests that have been made by the Pune police, we are looking at the kind of outrage among certain individuals against these arrests that have been made. But when we are talking about this individual, Mahesh Raut, because he was under the police scanner in 2013 as well, he was bailed out. By whom, sir? Independent inquiry was ordered, but nothing really came out of it. Everything was hushed up.
Yes, of course. There's been, see, the Congress has had always links with extremists from a long time. Mrs. Gandhi was openly supporting and arming and training the LTT. You remember that. She had later on in the later years, extremists in Assam were being supported. They are bringing in the jihadis from Bangladesh into India and making them in the voter roll was a Congress strategy for winning elections. There's no part of India where Congress, just for its narrow interest, had not compromised with anti-national forces. And I think this is a time now to rip apart that mask they had of being the party that led the country into...
whose only aim of this organization was to destabilize peace in the country. Thank you very much, Dr. Swamy, for speaking to us here on Times Now. And my colleague Megha Prasad also spoke to the then Chief Minister of Maharashtra from 2010 to 2014, Prithviraj Chavan, when this letter was written. Listen in.
Now, Times Now has access, sir, a letter that has been written by Mr. Jairam Ramesh, the then Rural Development Minister, to you when you were holding the position of the Chief Minister of Maharashtra.
Well, I will have to now search my memory. I don't have any documents before me. But I believe what you read out to be the letter written by my very dear friend and colleague, Sri Jairam Ramesh, who was the then Minister for Rural Development. And I also know from my personal knowledge that Mr. Jairam Ramesh was working very closely in Gadchiroli, particularly empowering the local people. And one of the most significant work that the ministry did that time was to empower the local people by giving them rights over forest produce, particularly bamboo. And I remember that we together went to a village called Lekha Menda and with a function and all that, gave the rights over the forest produce to the local villages. So that is the background. Mr. Jairam Ramesh tells me apparently in this letter that there is a Prime Minister's Fellowship Program which is thoroughly scrutinized, and I know you just anybody doesn't go walk into it. Must have been scrutinized, and based on the background and his willingness to work in difficult areas, he was selected by the Prime Minister and asked to do some development work. Now, this person apparently, from the letter, it seems that was questioned by the police. And
a question in connection with his connects with the Naxal, sir.
No, I mean, well, he was questioned by the police. Police don't question any innocent man. They might have got strong enough reasons to that he should be investigated or questioned.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी जब गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री थे तब से एक उनकी आदत है और तब से एक ट्रेंड चल रहा है कि जब जब उनकी लोकप्रियता नीचे जाती है तब तब वो एक इस प्रकार की खबरें प्लांट कराते हैं कि उनके ऊपर हमला होने वाला है. फॉल्स जानकारी तो फीड नहीं की जा रही है, इसकी छानबीन करना आवश्यक है.
या पुणे शहरामध्ये पुरोगामी विचाराचे लोक एकत्र आले. त्यांनी एल्गार परिषद बनवली तर त्यांना नक्षलवादी बनवता, त्यांना गुन्हेगार म्हणून अटक करता. मग सांगतात काय धमकीची पत्र आली. कोण म्हणतं यांना धमकीचं पत्र आली, अशी पत्र आली तसं सांगून एक लोकांची सहानुभूती मिळवण्याचा प्रयत्न हा त्या ठिकाणी केला जातोय. माझी खात्री आहे.
One of the ministers in the government has said that he knows some of them, Elgar Parishad or something, and they have nothing to do with the Maoists. So I don't think you should take all these unverified letters as though they are official documents put out in the Gazette of India.
Well, those are the reactions coming in from the Congress and the NCP side when they were in power. But also in 2013, it is important to note that this individual called Mahesh Raut, who has now been arrested by the Pune police, was also under the scanner at that point in time. So who let him off the hook, especially when this letter talks a lot more than it seems to be? We have more reactions on this. Let's listen in.
Getting a letter of 2013 where someone from the Congress says that so-and-so is not a criminal, and 5 years later if that person is arrested to make the tenuous link of the Congress supporting a terrorist. Frankly, in my view, it doesn't wash unless you buttress this up with much more corroborative evidence to establish a link which stands scrutiny under a court of law. So, merely an attempt to create this nexus through media reiteration, to my mind, is certainly not efficacious.